All right, check this out, bro. We're putting the chat here for now. Why? I don't like that picture. What is going on here? That's inappropriate. Okay. We'll put the chat here for right now. Anyway, this is called Samantha Lux is Not a Woman. Now, Samantha Lux, just not a big fan of her content, I guess. I've seen a few videos. I kind of disagree with some of the stuff. I didn't agree with her Dave Chappelle take. I don't know what else to say, but like, obviously, just because someone doesn't like someone's content doesn't mean they're a bad person. Like, and not everyone's content is for everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Let's normalize that. Okay.
Hi.
Okay. I played it off screen because there was a weird picture there. Actually, yeah. Yeah.
Hi, my name's
Oh,
Vanessa.
shut up. Hold on.
Hi.
No, wait. Hold on. Okay, really quick. I know this is inappropriate. Let me get this out of there. Okay, I'm just gonna have to censor it at this point anyway. Okay, here's the thing. Here's a conversation, and this problem. I know this is gonna come off as mean, but like this is a conversation we need to have, right? So I don't even know if I wanted to say this. This is so fucked up. I'm just gonna say it, bro. Samantha Lux looks more passable than this cisgendered woman. I'm assuming they're cisgendered. Isn't that weird though? Isn't that crazy? I don't know, man. I'm not wrong, you know. That's what I'm saying. Like anybody, you know, trans women can look passable, and cis women cannot look passable. It's a thing, man. You know, I think that's a very trans affirming thing to understand. Is that there's 7 billion people, and we're all trying to categorize them into 2 slots, boy, girl. You know, I'm just saying, bro. Anyway, let's get this going.
Hi, my name's Vanessa Vokey. I'm a photographer, an artist, and a sewist from Canada.
Okay,
and today
sewist.
I'm going to be
before.
making a video reacting to Samantha Lux.
Yeah, reaction within a reaction, guys. You ready for the reactionception from Papa Gut?
Samantha is a male to female transgender
Woman.
adult who...
Okay, well, I guess at least they said adult. However, they said Samantha Lux is not a woman in the title, so that kind of reverses that.
Who I think is from the States.
You know, Mama Gut said that this person looked like Ela Klein and Only JS mixed together, which is probably why she's bigoted.
And he made a couple different videos about bottom surgery, so I'm going to be kind of going over his assumptions and his experience of bottom surgery and some of the facts.
Okay. Here's a fact for you. Okay? Genuine question. Please don't call me transphobic. But from my perspective, you know, like, isn't it kind of missing out on some of the fun if you fuck a trans woman with bottom surgery? Like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I mean, like, that'd be kind of cool. That's cool, you know? Just a fucking girl with a penis. Sounds kind of hot. That's all I'm saying, bro. You know? That's all I'm saying.
Videos like this, talking about surgeries, talking about hormones, talking about literally anything, was so helpful to me because growing up, I never really saw any actual trans people. I just saw the people on Jerry Springer.
Oh yeah, you mean like this?
So good to meet you.
I love this video.
It's kind of nervous on national TV, I know, but like, I wanted to ask, like, maybe, like, you know, you could be my girlfriend.
Well, Brad, I have to tell you, I'm a man.
I'm going to be talking about...
Bro, why didn't you finish that clip? That guy was an alpha. He's like, I don't give a fuck. And they started making out. That guy's a fucking hero. What are you talking about? That's my fucking idol. Best of both worlds. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
About the myths that people have about bottom surgery and really open up and be honest about my bottom surgery. For me, I had, you know, full depth vaginoplasty.
So first off, the more accurate term to describe this surgery wouldn't be a vaginoplasty. It would be a penile inversion because there is no vagina involved in this surgery.
Well, you know, vaginas are social constructs, I guess. Okay.
The surgery involves taking a penis and inverting it to resemble something sort of tangentially related to what a woman's vagina looks looks like.
Listen, man, I've seen trans vaginas. They look the same, to me at least. You know?
They gave me as much depth as they could.
The most common
Jesus, how much did they give you? It sounds like they didn't give you a lot, which is good for a lot of men with, you know? I mean, when you really think about it, bro, like, bro, I don't know, man. I don't have a ruler around me, but like, people are like, oh, you're only 6 inches. That's so small, bro. I wouldn't want this in my body. That's insane, bro. Jesus.
Vaginoplasty technique is some variation of the penile inversion procedure. In
Okay.
this technique, a vaginal vault is created between the rectum and the urethra in the same location as a biological female, between the pelvic floor, the Kegel muscles, and the vaginal lining is created from penile skin. An orchiectomy is performed. That means castration, aka a removal of the testicles.
Okay.
The prostate is left in place to avoid complications such as incontinence and urethral strictures.
Makes sense.
Furthermore, the prostate has erogenous sensation and is the anatomic equivalent to the G-spot.
Here's another. Wait, hold on.
Furthermore, the prostate has erogenous sensation and is the anatomic equivalent to the G-spot.
This is the most important question. Can trans women feel the G-spot through their cooter? That's a very important question. Because me, I'm a very like enjoyment centric guy, like partner enjoyment. So if my partner's not enjoying it, I'm not really into it. You know what I mean? So like if I'm like, you know, if I'm stuffing a a trans woman and it doesn't feel good, like I'm not going to be into it. So that's a really important question for me personally. Because I'd rather just fuck them in the ass and jack them off. I mean, I don't care. Whatever feels good. Here's another fun fact, though. When women give birth, or men, you know, who am I to say, they almost always shit themselves. And they tear their vaginas. So these are just some more medical information, guys. You know.
More on that myth later.
On the second day, they get you up, they get you moving around, and they start to build up your strength again. They start to get it so that you are able to walk around again.
This is a major, major surgery. And to electively decide to invert your penis when there's no medical reason to do so, he just admitted that he was bedridden for a week.
You have to...
Like, listen, man. So I would ask the question here, right? They're saying like there's no medical reason to do, you know, such and such. Well, here's my thing, because like they're you know, I would like to go to, well, first of all, you can go to any cosmetic surgery. Like, oh, what if I just wanted like a penis reduction because it's so huge, I needed it to be smaller, so that's more manageable. Or what if like the issue is like just in my head? Like, what if my nose was just kind of fucked up and it made me feel like a shit? Would it be okay for me to get my nose done? You probably wouldn't say no. Obviously, that's a much different conversation, but like fundamentally, it's the same. Oh, there's no medical reason. Well, from a mental health perspective, that's something that's incredibly distressing to people who feel the need to get bottom surgery. Because not all trans people get bottom surgery, but that's something they feel they need. Because it's so like, why isn't mental health a factor here? I think that's a very important thing to talk about. But like, what is the success rate of surgeries for like of like weight loss surgery? It's like 5%. Those are horrible, and those are incredibly dangerous, and they're performed on fat people who are like really obese, which increases complications. Like, would you say like, oh, we shouldn't do that? Well, there's a medical necessity, yeah, but it doesn't work most of the time. You know what I mean? It feels a little bit like a virtue signal to me. There's no reason to do this. Why are you doing this? No medical reason. Mental health is a medical reason, man.
Dilate to keep open. That is not at all accurate, not at all true. Again, I talked about dilating before. I have vlogs and stuff from way back then where I went.
But hold on.
Bedridden for a week.
You have to dilate to keep open. That is not at all accurate, not at all true.
Okay, so I don't like this because it's a very dishonest telling.
For a
So
week.
we have like a clip. It says myth number 6 that they're busting. Surgery results are equivalent to an open wound. Okay. Here's the thing. And then later she's like, oh, I've talked about my dilation. So it's supposed to like promote the idea that Samantha Lux is being hypocritical by saying like, oh, you don't have to dilate. But it really what's happening is that she's just talking about how it's a misconception that it's an open wound. She's not specifically referring to the dilation because you do have to dilate. So it's like kind of it's a shitty thing to play at here. Like, yeah, you do need to stretch it out. I don't know if you would consider it an open wound. I imagine if you put your wiggler in there, it's not going to bleed. So, you know, wouldn't consider that an open wound. Yeah.
have to dilate to keep open. That is not at all accurate, not at all true. Again, I talked about dilating before. I have vlogs and stuff from way back then where I went into more detail about, you know, the schedule that they had me on. I was running to classes and I had like 45 minutes between classes to dilate.
Dilating means that you got to put a dildo in your vagina. And they slowly get bigger to make sure you can handle big old wigglers, you know?
And it was just not enough time.
Actually, that's a good point. If you have a piercing, it's not an open wound, but you need jewelry to keep it open. Yeah, that's fair. That's actually sounds like a really good comparison. I didn't think of it that way.
Here's an example of a dilation schedule that a transgender male to female would be on.
But no, this doesn't really matter because you were trying to show this. You were trying to suggest that there was a hypocrisy because before, in like a really dishonest way, you tried to suggest that she said that there was no dilation schedule.
You're not
Written for a week.
Right.
You have to.
Usually you're like, oh, it's very clearly like you nay-nayed yourself. Anybody reads this with like an open mind, they'll go like, oh, she's referring to that it's not an open wound, right? And then
dilate to keep open. That is not.
Then you show her a clip of her saying like, oh, you have to dilate it to keep open, but that's not at all true, right? She clearly said something before that and after that that was making it to a reasonable assumption that she wasn't specifically referring to the dilation, but you put it in there in that way to make it seem like there was a level of hypocrisy because she was originally saying there's no dilation. Or she said there's no dilation, but then you went back to her experience. She had to dilate. We know that there's dilation. It's a very disingenuous like point that you're trying to make here because you're trying to show hypocrisy where it doesn't exist. And like that's how you know that there's like very clearly a narrative.
Example of a dilation schedule that a transgender male to female would be on.
Okay.
From 0 to 3 months, they're using it 3 times per day.
Okay.
I think he said in his video that he got his surgery
I just don't like the misgendering.
a couple months before going to college.
Okay.
So that's why he said he was having to dilate in between classes.
Let me just tell you something right here, okay? So dilating, that's basically you put like something inside you leave it in there for a period of time. So for 3 months, you have to basically, listen, who hasn't masturbated 3 times a day for 3 months in a row? You know what I'm saying, dude? You know what I'm saying? This is a lightweight schedule, right? You think this is tough? I do this shit all the time. You gotta jerk off once a day for month 3 to 6. Easy. Then every other day, bro. I'm gonna be doing more than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
College. So that's why he said he was having to dilate in between classes.
The area that you have surgery will never heal, and it's just like an open wound or an open gash.
Some of the immediate risks of getting this type of surgery are bleeding, infection, skin.
Okay. Just keep this in mind, okay?
Getting this type of surgery.
This is so dumb. Like, you want to be transphobic, do you? But like, these are really bad points.
Surgery are.
Okay, so this is it. Hey, it's not the equivalent to an open wound, right? Now listen to her language.
Wound or an open gash.
Some of the immediate risks of getting this type.
Okay. What is an immediate risk? An immediate risk is a risk that happens in an immediate sense. So it would be like a stage 1 risk, right? So like if I cut my arm, the immediate risk is like, oh, it could get infected and I'm going to bleed. But it's going to heal up, right? Those are going to heal. Right? Just like if I pierce my ear, that was a great example. Oh, it might bleed. It's going to heal up. The immediate risk is bleeding. Okay. You don't understand what I'm saying? But that goes away very quickly, right? As it heals. And then as the vagina heals after surgery was performed, these immediate risks disappear. They're no longer immediate. It's through a recovery process, like any surgery. Hey, the immediate risk of having your fucking charcoal darkened lung taken out because it's dying is bleeding, so you shouldn't get it done. It's okay.
Type of surgery are bleeding, infection, skin or clitoral necrosis.
Huh?
That means when the skin dies and turns black and falls off.
Okay.
Suture line dehiscence, more on that later. Urinary retention or vaginal prolapse.
Okay.
Fistulas from the rectum, urethra, or bladder usually present early on. A study done on transgender women's vagina found that vaginal discharge and odor in transgender women is unlikely due to common causes in non-transgender women, which is so annoying. Like, we're not non-transgender women, we're
Why are you so sensitive about being called non-transgender in this context?
biological women, we're normal women, we're real women.
I don't know, bro. You don't look that normal to me, bro.
Like, why do we need to have a secondary descriptor for the majority of the population? Just when talking about men who want to be women, we have to
What is the point they're trying to make?
women as non-transgender women. It's absurd.
Hey, girl boss gatekeeping vaginas. That's what it sounds like to me.
Vaginal discharge and odor in transgender women is unlikely due to common causes in biological women, such as bacterial dysbiosis and candida.
Okay, so the reason that a trans woman's vagina might smell isn't going to be the same reason that a cis woman's vagina smells. Okay. So what's this established? Hey, trans women and cisgender women are different. Oh, okay. Doesn't mean they're not women. It just means they're different. Okay. Hey, their vaginas operate differently. Okay. Wow. That's not really a hot take. I think we knew that.
That's like yeast infections. In most cases, this discharge is most likely due to sebum, dead skin, or keratin debris, or retained semen or lubricant.
You gotta douche that puss better then, you know?
Since this vagina does not contain a mucosa, routine cleaning or douching with soapy water should be adequate to maintain hygiene.
Okay.
If odor or discharge persists, an examination for lesions or granulation tissue should be performed. Use of a solution of vinegar, 25% iodine in water for 2 to 3 days may help in cases of flora overgrowth or imbalance.
Or that you are giving up any sexual sensation or any sexual function when you decide to have this surgery. Moved a stitch or something happened. I don't know what happened, but something happened and I was in excruciating pain. You're not going to be losing any sexual pleasure or any sexual functions at all. Like I thought, did I make a mistake? Did I like that better? Like what's wrong with me? Why am I having these thoughts? And the fact of the matter is, it was just easier.
I don't even know what's happening. They said that there might have been a complication because a stitch got messed up, or maybe they were just first experiencing like sex with their vagina, so it was like weird and different. But like that would be their first experience and it changes. I don't really know. Like I just don't know. There's like no context in the clip. You could have just like you could have had like a fucking kid screaming for 15 seconds and that would have been just as much context as you gave us there. It was all over the place.
I'm not totally sure what he's talking about here, but I'm going.
Well, I mean, I'm not totally sure what she's talking about either, because that you clipped that up. You're like, I don't know what they're talking about. I went to a 10-minute video and I clipped out 5 1.5 second clips and I put them together and I don't know what the fuck what does it mean? It's like, yeah, you know, usually when you do that, you don't know what the fuck is happening. Oh yeah.
I'm going to guess that he means it was easier to orgasm when he could just jerk off instead of trying to figure out how to make his faux inverted penis orgasm.
Maybe you showed us the clip. I didn't get it.
I don't know. It's really hard to wrap my head around this.
Is that it doesn't look real.
Clearly.
That, you know, it just, you know, doesn't look real. From
what I've seen, they look real, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, it's not real. How could it look real? A vagina isn't an...
I don't know, bro. Like, even if your argument's like, hey, it's not real, bro. You know, pocket pussies look kind of real, too. You know, you can make... You know, CGI isn't real, okay? But it looks real. You know what I'm saying? So...
Inverted penis. It's, by definition, not real.
I think what we have a problem here is that we don't understand, like, what is a vagina for? Now, some people say for babies, and that partly is true. But we have to also understand that women don't matter and that vaginas are for male pleasure. So as long as it pleasures men, that's all that really matters. That's it.
Do these trans-identified males not realize how absolutely insulting it is to infer that a vagina is just a penis inverted?
I don't think that any woman actually gives a singular fuck. This isn't like, bro. I find the weirdest thing I find is that, like, it's so weird when transphobic people like this get so upset. They overly identify with their cisness, their cisgender nature, right? Like, your criticism is like, I don't like trans people. They identify too much with their transness. Fundamentally, that's what you're saying. But like, you're offended because trans women call their vaginas a vagina. Bro, who the fuck needs to cope? Like, why are you so, who cares? Why does your vagina matter that much to you? You feel so offended by trans women having vaginas. I don't really get it. Like, I don't understand. Why does it mean that much to you? Why do identity politics mean that much to you? It's so insulting. Why? Bro, we go around talking about fucking... We call femboys assholes boy pussies. We were like, yeah, that's a pussy. That's an asshole. That your asshole is a pussy. Nobody's offended by that. Well, who cares, bro? fucking gatekeeping girl boss, bro.
Because there's just so much that goes into it. You know, there's judgment. What if people think that I look weird down there? It sounds so stupid, but like, I don't want to be judged for something like that.
This is from the World Health Organization's website. Female genital mutilation involves the partial or total...
Bro, come on. So the problem I have with this is that they looked up female genital mutilation. They didn't look up like female like trans like bottom surgery, right? They didn't look that up. So they're like, okay, it's genital mutilation. Listen, sure, you could probably boil it down to genital mutilation. You could boil piercings down to body mutilation. You could say that piercings is a body mutilation. But there's a difference between having your ears pierced and having somebody shoot your earlobe off with a gun. So this here is referring to like genital mutilation, where like in some countries they'll take a rock and scrape a fucking woman's clitoris off. Do you think that that's the same thing? No, this is a surgeon performing a surgery versus a fucking psychopath scraping a woman's clitoris off. It's just like, this is so dishonest.
Total removal of external female genitalia or the female genital organs for non-medical reasons.
Bro, it's for non-medical reasons, but like there's a medical reason to get your fucking vagina, make a vagina. Makes you you're happier. That's it. Like that's like mental health is a reason, bro.
The practice has no health benefits for girls and women. FGM can cause severe bleeding and problems urinating, later cysts, infections, as well as complications in childbirth and increased risks of newborn deaths. More than 200 million girls and women alive today have been cut in 30 countries in Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, where FGM is concentrated. FGM is mostly carried out on young girls between infancy and age 15. FGM is a violation of the human rights of girls and women. WHO is opposed to all forms...
Okay, so like, I don't know, like that's from the World Health Organization. Do they have us up space on bottom surgery? They don't. Oh wait, they might. No, it's a different thing. That just wasn't what that was about. That was just about genital mutilation.
...of FGM and is opposed to healthcare providers performing FGM, the medicalization of FGM.
Okay.
Now, on the flip side of that, we have labioplasty rising in popularity in the West.
I don't even know what a labia is because I don't give a fuck. Oh, well, that's part of the vagina, right? It's like a useless part. Yeah, I think girls want their vaginas to look better, so they get labioplasty. I know what it is. I'm not that stupid. Which is actually a problem because of, like beauty standards. It's like, oh, that's not an attractive vagina. I think we unironically need to normalize vaginas looking different. Like unironically, we need to normalize that. Like, oh, I have this. My vagina looks different from a porn pussy. Okay, who cares, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to normalize. All vaginas are beautiful, dude.
The trending options for rejuvenating vaginal tissue have made the
dicks too, penises too. Absolutely, yes.
Of the genital area a more prominent issue in women's beauty media. In addition,
what does this have to do
young women can more easily access images of idealized female genitalia online. Experts have blamed porn and an abundance of X-rated images online for women as young as 15 seeking an unachievable look.
I agree with that, sure.
Between 2015
so what's the correlation?
and 2016, more than 200 girls under the age of 18 had a labioplasty, of which 150 were under 15.
So the version that I had done allows me to...
Okay.
Of which 100...
So what's the association here? So that's crazy that the young women had this. It's weird. I wonder if there had to have been a medical reason for a 15 or 16-year-old to get a labioplasty. Either way, I don't care. So the association here is what? That they think it's a bad thing to get a labioplasty because of like beauty standards. So by that logic, it also must be bad to get like bottom surgery. I don't really understand the correlation too much. I would need them to connect the dots for me because I'm super fucking confused.
150 were under 15.
If anything, all you're doing is saying like, hey, we need to normalize trans bodies, normalize women with penises. That's what you're actually saying.
So the version that I had done allows me to get there two different ways, the same ways that, cisgender women would get there. Both of them work great.
What is that?
How do I phrase this?
Oh, come. Okay. Then I don't know how, I guess. Who cares? Female pleasure doesn't matter.
I can already tell you he doesn't understand that women don't have prostates. Well, let's talk about how women get there, aka how women experience an
I think
orgasm.
the point is like, oh, you rub their clit and you come, and then you can have clitoral and stimulation and penile stimulation. You get fucked. You know what I mean? Those feel different, and I'm sure they feel different for trans women overall. Who cares? Who cares? Like, hey, it's different. Hey, I have a grape gumball. What flavor is yours? Oh, mine's watermelon. Oh, well, that's totally different. It's like, well, they're both still gumballs. Yeah, but it's just not quite perfectly the same. Yeah, but it's still a gumball. So does it fucking matter? Who gives a shit? Who cares? And then again, remember, women don't matter. So who cares how they come? You know what I'm saying, bro?
Orgasm. Other researchers suggest that the G-spot isn't necessarily an actual physical entity, but instead the place where the sides of the vestibular bulbs of the clitoris make contact with the anterior wall of the vagina.
I don't care.
This suggests that a vaginal orgasm may actually still be connected to the clitoris. Each thrust during penetrative vaginal intercourse or contraction of the pelvic muscles can stimulate the clitoris.
Is the belief that once you have bottom surgery, you won't be able to self-lubricate the same way that a cisgender woman would.
You probably
Not
can't.
only are vaginas...
I got that one. Seems like, yeah, you probably. I wonder. Let me see something. Okay.
Hi everyone, welcome back to
This is number 3. 1, 2, 3.
the belief that once you have bottom surgery, you won't be able to self-lubricate the same way that a cisgender woman would. The reality of this myth is that it varies a lot between people, and it varies a lot between the type of surgery that you have done. There are a few different ways that this surgery can be done. They can use parts of like internal organs, or sometimes they just use, you know, the external tissues that you have going on down there, which is the version that I had. And the procedure that
I feel like this doesn't matter. I think it's a reasonable assumption to assume that they don't lubricate the same way. Who cares?
Won't be able to self-lubricate the same way that a cisgender woman would.
Not only are vaginas self-lubricating, they're also self-cleaning.
It's true.
The easiest way to explain
But you still should clean it a little bit.
cervical fluid is to describe how it feels. The baseline of vaginal wetness is what your body makes on a daily basis to keep the vagina healthy.
But you shouldn't douche, usually. If you're trans, you probably have to. But, you know, because, like, it's not good for the pH balance, just so you know.
And clean. Typically, this feels like nothing is really going on. There's also the typical amount of vaginal discharge that you experience right after your period. Cervical mucus plays a crucial role in conception by eliminating abnormal sperm and protecting healthy sperm as they travel through the reproductive system to the egg. Okay. This type can make much larger wet spots in your underwear that can even soak through. This occurs when you are sexually aroused.
Not to like give too much information out or anything, but I actually can self-lubricate.
Penile inversion vaginoplasty.
I'm sure some can. I mean, I just, whatever.
In and of itself produces no lubrication. The small glands in the urethra, which secrete pre-ejaculate, are left intact in trans women. It's highly variable how much is secreted, 0 to 5 milliliter, but that can give some lubrication on arousal.
Okay, I guess they can self-lubricate? Okay.
The makeup of vaginal wetness is not the same as pre-cum.
I'm fine with it, bro. Whatever works, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Just in case you weren't aware.
You know, experienced surgeons, you're not going to be losing any type of sensation or any type of ability to orgasm.
A study of sexual desire in transgender women found that 83% never or rarely experience spontaneous sexual desire.
That's a very different conversation. So, oh god, this is so dishonest. So
Found that
okay, so there's a difference between being able to orgasm and look at her face. Look at her fucking face, dude. What the fuck? Okay, so we have to understand something, that there is a fundamental difference between orgasming and experiencing spontaneous sexual desire. Like, obviously, if like being trans, you're going to be on hormones. That's going to fuck with you in some capacity. It might make your sex drive go down, right? But like that doesn't have anything to do with orgasm per se. That has to do with like your ability to get horny in the first place. But these are just two different things. These aren't the same thing that we're referencing right now.
83% never or rarely experience spontaneous sexual desire. The study also found decreases in sexual desire after genital surgery.
It's a lot more difficult.
Yeah, I'm usually not as horny after I get a major surgery on my body either. Like, they took out my heart once, and I was like, I'm not that horny today, babe. And she was like, wow, I can't believe that heart surgeries are come with the negative impact of not making you horny for a while.
Like,
I didn't actually get heart surgery, man.
Get there, if you know what I'm saying. Like, it sounds so weird to talk about, but it's the truth, and it messed me up. Like, this is the belief that after surgery, everything down there is going to feel extremely fake or extremely foreign to both you and your partner.
That's probably subjective. It might.
People don't really talk about it, but when you have this surgery, there's a lot of anxiety that comes afterwards. So like, yeah, I have these parts now, but now I have these mental blocks in my mind that won't let me use them. You can't get pregnant. You can't. Unless someday, you know,
I don't know, like from the way they're presenting it, I don't even know. I'd have to watch the original video, which I'm not going to. But like, yeah, maybe some of these things aren't like super honest. Like, yeah, I imagine you might have some kind of like phantom limb type of a thing when you get the surgery, and maybe Samantha Lux is playing it up too much, which could have a negative impact on making a real reasonable decision from a trans person that's watching it. So if that is in fact the truth, if Samantha Lux is playing it up in a very positive way rather than giving like the actual truth of their experience, like, yeah, that part can be toxic to other trans women who might be considering the surgery. But the things that she may not be being honest about aren't things that invalidate trans people.
you have a uterus transplant and like all that kind of stuff, maybe you can.
Of course you can't get pregnant.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
You're a man. You're a male.
That's fucked up.
You don't have the parts. And even if they could stitch the parts into you, your body would reject it.
Bro, that's interesting though. Imagine they could. We would imagine like next 100 years, imagine they could like legitimately do that. That would be fucking crazy. Then what's your excuse then? If they can put a fucking whole uterus in there. Would you call it a deuterus? I'm sorry, that's transphobic. I just wanted to make the joke. I'm sorry. But what would be your excuse at that point? You know what I mean? Like, oh, they can have babies now. Well, it's still not trans because I farted. You know what I mean?
You're so lucky you never get periods. Like, what I would give to get periods, like what I would do.
Spoken like someone that's never gotten a period before.
To be able to, you know, house my own offspring.
Am I right, girls?
That sounds so weird, but like what I would do to
High
get
five.
pregnant, girl. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, dude, we can tell. We know how jealous you are. It's pretty obvious.
I think like,
It's such a weird thing to flex. Oh, you're upset that you can't do something most women can do, right? And like I know that sounds like it's transphobic, but that's not what I mean. Like the person, for lack of a better term, the cisgender woman, right? She's like, yeah, fuck you. You can't do. You're not unique for being able to have a baby. But she's like, yeah, I can have a baby. Okay, you can also shit. Like, does that make you unique? You know, I mean, I don't understand. Like, why is that so fucking profound to you? Like, what the fuck? Like, oh got him. Flex, nay. Okay, not unique, bro. Okay.
it looks totally normal. Everything looks totally like real. I've showed boys, I've showed girls. Both of them said that it looks totally natural, totally like cisgender, you could say.
If you're
I mean, in reality, if it doesn't look real, your friends are not going to be like, oh, you know what, Samantha, pussy's whack. You know what I mean? They're just gonna be like, oh yeah, it looks good. You know, they're not gonna tell you the truth. But I've seen them before. They look fun.
friend were to get a really bad tattoo and were to come to you and say like, hey, look, guys, isn't this awesome? What are you supposed to say? Like, no, it looks like shit. Go get your money back. Like,
It sounds like you just want to see Samantha's pussy. I think what really happened is that this is the theory. This is the fan fiction. Is that this person here used to know Samantha when they identified as male, and they had such a big crush on them. When they found out that they were actually trans, it confused them, and now they're making this. Either that, or this person is finds Samantha so attractive now that they're struggling with their sexuality. Because if we're gonna typecast people, you do look like you would be somebody who would be like non-binary and gender fluid in some capacity. I'm not trying to be mean, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you asked me, hey, is that a cisgender woman? I'd be like, if I saw you on the streets and someone's like, tell me right now, look at that person. Do you think that they're cisgender? I would say no. I'd be like, no, they probably identify as non-binary. And I would normally be right if it was somebody that looked like you. But in this case, I guess you don't. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you're like so afraid that you're like trans in some capacity, that you're like desperately like trans doesn't exist. And then it's basically like praying the gay away. You're praying the trans away. That's what it kind of seems like to me.
like, that was a mistake. Why did you do that? Like, of course they're going to say that it looks great. It's irreversible.
What if I go to have
Bro,
sex?
I just don't even understand. Somebody in my chat was just like, what if I find Samantha and crap down her mouth? Why? What? I don't even know why you would say that. What a weird thing to say. Let's see. How many messages have you put in my chat? 7? I'm just going to ban you then because I don't even know who you are. I'm going to assume it wasn't a joke and you're just a smelly piece of shit. If I knew you more, I'd be like, okay, that's a weird joke. It didn't hit, but I'm just gonna ban you.
Sex with somebody and it rips open and I bleed out and die.
Oh my god.
I don't think that's gonna happen, but like, what if it does?
I've never heard a woman laughing about having her vagina ripped open from sex and bleeding out and dying.
My wife routinely makes jokes about killing herself. I don't really know. Not quite the same, but like some kind of like self-deprecating humor. It's pretty normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that big of a deal. You're forcefully outraged over this.
Never, ever, ever heard a woman laugh about that. And a lot of stories about women having their hymen ripped when they were having sex, and it's just not a laughing matter for us.
I was experiencing
That sounds horrible. What was your first experience? It sounds horrible. Holy shit. What happened to you?
a little bit of dehiscence, which is basically when you are so swollen that the sutures that they put down there to keep everything sewn together start to rip open, and basically you get like a hole in your body. It was as bad as it sounds, just to be perfectly real with you guys.
That sounds rough.
Regret your sexual reassignment surgery. That transitioning doesn't even help a person, and that the suicide rates are still just as high after surgery as they are before
Both suicide attempt rates.
surgery. And you know, when you look at the statistics, it does look that way, but it's not because people are having surgery. It's because of the way that they are treated in society. Yes,
That's a whole conversation to have. Like, listen, my understanding is that the suicide attempt rate, not exactly sure what the suicide attempt rate is after and before surgery. I think it's roughly the same, right? So here's the thing. Just like anything else, there's a myriad of issues. There are potentially a myriad of different things. That would be why. So let's say that the suicide attempt rate is the same, right? We're going to do painting. I just like painting lately. I don't know what it is. I think it just brings me back to my childhood, right? So you have the suicide attempt rate. So you got the SAR, right? So we'll say before... let's say it's 50% just for, and then after it's like 50%, right? So you go like, okay, nothing changed, right? Well, there's probably a lot of reasons for that. Now, Samantha Lux brought up the first reason, which would potentially be like, okay, the way that society treats you. So we'll say ST, societal treatment, like, oh, that's a problem. Like, I'm sure that it is. I think another issue is that like, I think surgeries are new. I think it's gender reassignment, or rather, gender confirmation surgery, I think is what it's called. But like, these surgeries are very new and they're not explored well. And I don't think that we're at the right place in like a mental health capacity. So I would say like, honestly, there's probably a factor of unrealistic expectations. I think that like, I remember and I fucking hate that I don't have the conversation. I don't know what happened to it. I talked to somebody who was a guy who specialized in trans like therapy. And they were incredible. And like, I don't have the conversation. But they talked about the true correct process and how to deal with how to like give therapy to people who are trans, right? So you have somebody who's trans, and then they go to therapy, right? So they might have gender dysphoria. They're having an issue with their gender. They're having a gender issue, and so they go to a therapist, right? Now let's say they get diagnosed with gender dysphoria, right? They have gender dysphoria. I think that's what they call it still, right? The next step is to deal with like treatment, right? You deal with the treatment. Now, the way you're supposed to discover which is the right treatment, right? Some people, and it's not most of them, but the fundamentally, you're supposed to help them be comfortable with themselves. So that actually is one of the treatments, potentially, depending on the person, could be like, oh, making them happy, identifying with their biological sex. We'll say happy identifying with their sex. That is a treatment for people with gender dysphoria. Some of them, if they can go down that route and it makes them happy, it is a possibility that should be explored. There's also the possibility of having to start like a transition, like actually starting transition, right? And the way that you're supposed to go through your transition is that usually they'll tell you to like go to a mall, and they'll say like, oh, find somebody that you want to look like. Something in that capacity, right? So then you'll create an expectation of what you want to look like, and that's here, versus what you currently look like. And the goal is to, as you're making your way this way, as you're going to a point where you're transitioning towards being your ideal self, you're also working on your mental health in a way that makes you happier not being that ideal self. I'm just going to skip this for now. I'm going to play it after. Sorry. Right? And the idea is to meet somewhere in the middle. Could be here, 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 right? But the idea is you're supposed to make sure that the idea is to try to transition to here, right? You're going to go this way as you reel in your expectations, because at the end of the day, you know, you might not be able to look as passable as you would like to. And that's the way that you're supposed to operate, right? My drawings they don't make any sense. It's more of like how I do hand gestures, but I just enjoy it. It kind of just makes me have fun doing the conversation. So it's for me. Fuck you. Okay. Right? This is the goal. I think one of the problems is that there may be an issue with this here. Therapists not focusing enough on this. Maybe bad therapy. We have bad therapy in our society. Right? We're still trying. And so I think that the issue more than that is like reel in your expectations. I think that's another thing. So yeah, societal expectations. I mean like personal expectations. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of different things here. But like everything else, it's multiple factors pulled into this one thing. It's not going to just be one thing like, oh, it's that. No, it's probably a mixture between two different things. Right? Like if you're living in a very trans affirming area, this won't be an issue. This might still be an issue. You know? Or maybe you'll be okay. But I imagine if we can create a more trans affirming spaces, that's a good thing, right? We can create more trans affirming spaces. We don't have to deal with this issue anymore, and we only have to deal with like unrealistic expectations. Like, yeah, we need to obviously eliminate both of these. Now, is it going to always have like 100% success rate? No, but like, yeah, you know. And another conversation to have as well, and this is something that people don't know, is that gender dysphoria, I think that's what it's still classified as, is linked with other mental health issues. This is a problem too. See, it's not even about the societal expectations. This is the thing that you guys don't understand, right? Right? It's not even just about, well, I don't need more pain. It's not even just about the societal expectations. It's about the other mental health issues that you have that are associated with gender dysphoria that you may have either had when you were born or you might have developed. Like you might have horrible chronic anxiety, right? It doesn't just go away because you're like, oh, I'm trans now, my anxiety goes away. Like oftentimes people can identify their problems and they can figure out what the issue is and get rid of that issue. Their problem still persists because it's not like a fucking on and off switch. This is how mental health works. So the fact here that suicide attempt rates stay the same makes sense. Additionally, because there's another factor as well, and you can look this up, there is a phenomenon that when people are starting to feel better, their suicide attempt rate goes up. I need you guys to understand that, right? So we can go with paint on this one because it's not a light switch, right? This, let's just say fundamentally outside of transness, but this is, let's say somebody is like super depressed. They have like chronic depression, right? They have chronic depression and they take some kind of a treatment method that makes them to start to feel better. It makes them, they start to feel better, right? Well, this is a chart here of your spectrum of, oh, I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to feel better, right? They're feeling better. Well, guess what? This is down here, right? This is how happy you are, right? This is your energy levels. Something that's very interesting, okay? As you get happier, right? Your energy levels go up as well, right? Now, we're going to say all the way over here is like true happiness. Let's not even say there. It's all the way over here. This is true happiness. Well, guess what? One of the reasons people don't kill themselves is because they're not happy enough or energetic enough to kill themselves. I'm not kidding. So now they're happier, right? They just got their trans surgery. They're happier, but they're happier and they have more energy, but now they're still not happy. So they're like, I have the energy. I'm more motivated to kill myself. And that's another reason why. There are a lot of different aspects to this as to why the suicide attempt rate wouldn't change just because you got the surgery, right? There's a ton of them. And I think it's like really, it's something that we need to talk about from all sides, obviously, so we can create solutions. More societal acceptance, which, by the way, would reduce, and that's the thing too, the societal acceptance would reduce mental health issues pre-surgery, but then also unrealistic expectations being set by potentially poor therapy, right? Yeah, there you go.
I might feel more in my own skin. I might feel more confident, whatever. Just because I'm happy with myself now doesn't mean that the world is happy with me, and it doesn't mean that I feel accepted in this world.
It was terrifying. I remember like bawling my eyes out saying like, what did I do? Like, what did I do to myself? I fucked myself up. I'm never gonna heal from this. I don't know, like, how is this gonna be okay? Like,
I'm assuming that's within the context that they ripped open a stitch. I don't really know because you're so bad faith about this that I don't even know what point I know what point you're trying to make, but like you're so bad faith. I don't know what you want me to tell you here.
In my body for the rest of my life. Starting to cry in the surgeon's office because I was like, I'm depressed. I'm in school. It's painful. Like it's a lot.
Yeah, it sounded like her stitch ripped out, and then she was regretting it because the stitch ripped out. And you're trying to make it seem like it's just a fundamental decision.
It's a lot to be going through.
I think the problem is that he's crying in his surgeon's office. Surgeons don't care about your mental health. They're
what? I just don't understand that point. Like, surgeons aren't in charge of your mental health, but like people care about each other. If you had a surgeon that did a trans surgery on you, sorry from that, whatever, did like a bottom surgery on you, they probably don't hate trans people. Right? So like if I had a surgery and I removed my fucking toe, who cares? And I went there like, bro, it hurts really bad. The surgeon might be like, oh, that's sad. Maybe do this. I don't know. I don't understand. Like, what the fuck? It's like people aren't robots.
They're not psychologists.
They're
They're not therapists.
But they're like, oh, your vagina stitches tore? Shit, let me help you. That was what they'll respond with.
They're like mechanics. And your body is a car.
The percentage of people that regret having sexual reassignment.
They're like mechanics. Your body's a car. I'm actually with you on that one. And interesting, you can change the parts in your car. You know? You can fit your car to go from manual to automatic. And vice versa. Isn't that interesting? So, it's a good analogy. It's a very good trans-affirming analogy. You could also paint your car. You can make it look more masculine, feminine, because the colors are associated with masculinity and femininity.
Surgery is so minuscule that it's not even like a relevant percentage of people.
How?
I don't know what she's saying.
Surgery is,
and your body is a car.
the percentage of people that regret having sexual reassignment surgery is so minuscule that it's not even like a relevant percentage of people.
How?
Okay. I'm looking into that. I don't know why I feel like I have a contestment with that, but I don't remember what it was. I mean, that makes sense. It makes sense that people, I think I don't know. Okay. Now I think I remember why I had an issue with this, but it's not really relevant, but I'm still going to talk about it. So yeah, I think let's say the acceptability, whatever, the people after they have their bottom surgery, they have a very low rate of regret, which makes sense for multiple reasons. Like one, we actually do have something in our bodies where if we make a decision that cannot be reversed, we are more happy with that decision than if we made a decision we can reverse. That's actually a really real thing, but it makes sense. Also, these people who get surgery, like bottom surgery, are very far along in like whatever treatment process they're on. I remember the issue I had is somebody was using like the happiness or the non-regret rate of getting their surgery, and they were saying, see, that's how many people don't regret transitioning in general. Transitioning refers to entire spectrum, starting from just looking and like or presenting to taking hormones to getting like other surgeries. It's not just a bottom surgery. You can get like a breast surgery, top surgery. You can either cut them off or in some capacity you can make them smaller, larger, depending on where your dysphoria lies. Voice box, hairline, jawbone. Is his cheek the same thing? Get my point, right? So yeah, and the reason I bring that up is because people have dishonest conversations about transitioning. Because like, yeah, some people like don't like the transition, and I think that part of that issue is like a misdiagnosis potentially, and like not treating the issue the right way. But that's not what's happening here. I just remembered that.
How dare he say that it's a minuscule and irrelevant number of people that are detransitioning? Way to gaslight an entire group of people.
You see right there? Actually, a good thing I brought up. See, that's not what she said. She said people who there's a small amount of people who regret their surgery, their bottom surgery specifically. That's not the same as the percentage of people who are detransitioning, right? Very different things.
People who feel the medical community abused them, lied to them,
Sure.
and speak their truth and try to prevent other children
Absolutely.
from going down the same path that they went down.
But this is a virtue signal because we're not talking about general transitioning. We're specifically talking about bottom surgery.
And you're just completely dismissing their experiences and saying, oh, there's so few of them, they're irrelevant, they don't even matter. Give me a break. D-Trans Canada has yet to launch a concerted recruitment drive and has fewer than a dozen Canadian members. But Ava noted that a Reddit forum for detransitioners, r/dtrans, grew from 3,000 to over 16,000 members in just a few months this year.
Okay, hold on.
Grew from 3,000.
Okay, our statistical analysis here. And listen, I am somebody who thinks we need to talk more about detransitioning to give people the full context before they make the decision to transition. I want you to understand that. I'm with that. But the statistics here are hey, we don't have any statistics of detransitioners, but there is this Reddit post, this Reddit, and I know enough how Reddit works. There's this Reddit community, and it used to only have 3,000. It's called detransitioners, and now it has 16,000. Well, what's really interesting is not everybody needs to be trans, or not everybody needs to have detransitioned to become part of the detransitioning community. Right? If I had a community called fucking poop lovers only, anybody could join. Right? And I don't think it's an unreasonable assumption to make that some of those people might hate trans people. Okay? I'm just being honest with you. They might go in there to your story. I don't really know. I guess I'd have to look into it. But that's not a good place to go to talk about to that's not a statistic to use.
1,000 to over 16,000 members in just a few months this year.
However, all that being said, I do want to make it clear that having bottom surgery is not a one-stop fix for all of your problems. I feel like I might have treated my transition kind of like that for a long time. I thought in my head that, once I get through my transition, once I get through this next surgery, once I get through this next procedure, then I'll be happy. Then I'll feel complete. Then everything will be good. But that's really not true.
A lot of studies have shown that
Hold on.
Once I get through my transition, I might have treated that having bottom surgery.
1,000 members in just a few months this year.
However, all that being said, I do want to make it clear that having bottom surgery is not a one-stop fix for all of your problems. I feel like I might have treated my transition kind of like that for a long time. I thought in my head that, once I get through my transition, once I get through this next surgery, once I get through this next procedure, then I'll be happy. Then I'll feel complete. Then everything will be good. But that's really not true.
A lot of studies.
Yeah, it's fair. That's a very honest thing to say. Hey, listen, you're going to need more than just this to be happy. I think that's actually a really good message to tell people that are considering transitioning or doing bottom surgery. Great, that's good.
Have shown that we don't really reach psychological maturity.
Oh, and by the way, to keep it clear, the RD trans, it does not. Okay, I should be more clear. Sorry. There could be transphobic people in there. There could also be people who aren't trans that are just interested in the topic, the subject matter. That's also very possible. Sorry, I should have mentioned that as well.
Not able to conceptualize the consequences of certain actions that we make.
Hold on.
That's really not true.
A lot of studies have shown that we don't really reach psychological maturity. We're not able to conceptualize the consequences of certain actions that we make until we get to about 25 years of age. I hope that he is one of the people who doesn't regret his surgeries.
Okay, so first of all, obviously, gender correctly, but the bigger issue here is, okay, so that's 100% true. Yeah, right? It's usually 25 when we fully come to term with ourselves and become more aware of ourselves and more critical thought and whatnot. I agree. But I'd ask you, are you also in favor of raising the age of consent to 25? Because if you're saying, hey, you don't understand the implications of your actions until you become 25, well, then I don't think that you should be able to go into the military until you're 25, right? You're too impressionable. You shouldn't smoke cigarettes until you're 25. You shouldn't drink alcohol until you're 25. You shouldn't be able to vote until you're 25. You shouldn't really be able to do anything until you're 25 years old because you don't understand the implications of your actions because you're not mentally developed enough. So the problem here is that no driving until 25. Great point, right? So you can't have basic, your age of consent. If you aren't for raising the age of consent to 25, then this argument is kind of irrelevant, right? You would need to, because you can't just say yeah, I don't think trans people should do this until they're 25. Although you probably don't think anybody should ever do it. But is this are you going to have the same? Are you going to make the same argument, generally, fundamentally, about all these other things? No femboy porn until 25. We should. Oh my God.
I hope he is one of those people that is happy. Not true saying that his inverted penis somehow makes him a woman, and using women's spaces and pretending that he's a woman and all those other things.
So, like, would you rather Samantha Lux go into like a male bathroom? Like, do you feel unsafe with Samantha Lux in the bathroom? I'm so confused. What is a women's space anymore? It's like a women's spa, like that bathroom areas. I mean, I would just rather not have that. Listen, if we're gonna just like completely based off aesthetics, I'd rather not have somebody that looks like a girl in the bathroom while I'm taking a piss. Although I don't necessarily care because you have the dividers there. It would be uncomfortable because women actually are disgusting in the public restrooms. They're fucking animals. They shit, piss, bleed everywhere. So get out of my bathroom, ladies, because you guys are nasty fucking animals.
Are not okay.
But I'm still depressed. There are still issues that, transition did not address that are still there. But just because I'm still depressed now, or I'm still anxious now, or whatever, doesn't mean that I regret having surgery.
It's okay for him to be a feminine man. It's okay for him to be a man who wanted his penis inverted. What that doesn't make him is a woman.
I just disagree.
Goes the same for Blair White and Rose of Dawn and, some of the other popular...
You need to say Woman of the Year, Caitlyn Jenner? What the fuck? Get some better trans representation in here, bro.
YouTuber, transsexual males. I hope that they're happy with the decisions they've made, but I really wish they'd stop being so delusional and stop, using women's spaces and stop making it seem like they're women just because they have long hair or feel somehow excluded from the definition of masculinity or the definition of manhood.
Yeah, you can have long hair and be a guy. This is your example of this is a very incredibly passable trans woman. Like, it's not the great. Like, most transphobic men would even agree they should go into the women's bathroom. Like, what the fuck? It's just so weird. I don't understand. Or maybe they believe that they should be dead because they're very transphobic. But you get my point. Like, they are very passable. Like,
they shouldn't be trying to encroach on what womanhood is. They should be broadening the definition of what manhood is.
To what? To what? What does that mean? What does broadening the definition of manhood mean? Like, what do you want? Like, what? I don't understand what that means. Because if you wanted to do that in Samantha Lux's case, you'd have to broaden the definition to a man, for a man to look exactly like a woman and be fucked like a woman and like dated like a woman. Like, I don't understand. Like, what's the, like, are we advocating for like just gender neutrality in general? I'm just fucking confused, bro.
And what it means to be a man. Because every girl that self-identifies out of being a woman makes the colorfulness and the mosaic of all the different types of women a little bit less bright and a little bit less colorful. And I think that goes for men as well. Every time a super flamboyant, effeminate gay boy transitions to a woman, the picture of
we have plenty of super effeminate fucking gay boy. I feel like that's a slur. I don't know. We have plenty of those. We don't need any more. You don't need to go be a girl. I don't care. Like who gives a shit? Fucking cares.
Masculinity and the image of manhood just gets smaller and less bright. The picture of masculinity and the image of manhood just gets smaller and less bright.
But it doesn't really, because like very feminine men are feminine men. Like they already don't really identify as masculine. So masculinity doesn't really die because a very feminine man becomes a woman, I guess, if that's how you want to say it. They don't really identify with their masculinity already. I don't understand. Yeah, word soup, word salad.
Don't dull your shine, stay true to who you are. I'll talk to you next time.
Hey guys, don't dull your shine. Stay true to who you are. Unless you're trans, then you should just continuously not treat yourself until you kill yourself, because that's probably better, I guess, in their fucking understanding.
Bye.
Wow, this is gonna be a real dickhead move. So it's just gonna be pictures of Samantha Lux before they transitioned, and while they're transitioning. Okay. Well, that's so nice. Wow. Follow me on Odyssey. 65. What is Odyssey? Is this another? Okay. Why do you hate? Why are you so obsessed with trans people? Okay. Monthly live Q&A about trending topics. What are these platforms that you're promoting? Shop My Band Store. I Heart J.K. Rowling. Woman, adult, okay. What is this? Why does this look like this? Why does it do this? Adult human female. Okay, so stupid. Here's your Instagram. Excuse me. What a ridiculous farce. Show me on YouTube now. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's transphobic shit. I don't know what like drives somebody to be this obsessed about trans shit. It's so weird. Okay. There's a Twitter. Tomboy for life. Okay. You do you, sister. Here's a Facebook. Uh-oh. Oh no, my Facebook. I have a Facebook too, bro. Follow me on Facebook. All right, great video. Not really, but you know, what are you gonna do?